On today's show, we're going to take a look at a Sony smartphone. That's right, Sony makes smartphones and you might want to consider picking one up. It's time for Unboxed Daily. Welcome to Unboxed Daily. I'm your host, Jason. Today, we're going to take a look at a Sony manufactured Android smartphone. Now, you may not be aware of this, but Sony actually makes smartphones and has for a while, but this is the first one that we've seen that really frankly caught our attention. So if you want to know more about the Sony Xperia XZ2 and the compact version, stick around. But if you want to know other stuff we're producing, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and if you really like us, hit that bell as well. So you might remember back in the day that Sony actually had a pretty decent line of phones they used to sell here in the US. But with the advent of Apple and later Samsung and other major producers of smartphones, Sony's sort of fallen behind the curve. These days, though, they're looking to take back some of that market share. And with the XZ2, they're trying with a pretty solid foot forward. All right, so first, let's turn it over to Matthew Moniz, who's going to give us a basic overview of this new Sony phone, including the specs and the basic form factor.
Performance is what you're going to expect. You're going to get a Snapdragon 845 chip. This is what's going to be in most smartphones coming out in 2018. And the chip itself offers a lot of great features. So faster connectivity speeds, loading up a web page, the latency is going to be less compared to last year's chip. You're going to have 4x4 MIMO, 5CA LTE. It's just going to be a great chip overall. Software will be using Android 8.0, and Sony's theming is not too bad compared to other smartphone manufacturers who really bog their systems down.
So it's running Android 8.0, it's got the Snapdragon 845, it's got an 18:9 display and a brand new form factor. Pretty sure this isn't your daddy's Sony phone anymore.
Molto insolita. Il microfono che si apriva a flip e faceva anche da.
Now, one of the first things you got to ask when you look at a new smartphone is how good is the camera? What are its qualities? What's the hardware? Give me the details, right? Totally fair question. And to be honest, any camera that can't do 4K on a smartphone these days is probably not going to be up to snuff. Well, did you know that this new Sony phone not only does 4K, but has HDR capabilities as well? I know, I was surprised too. But here to tell us more is Super Saf from Super Saf TV, who's got the lowdown on this pretty spectacular camera.
Now, the camera might seem the same on paper, but Sony have co-developed a custom ISP with Qualcomm for the Snapdragon 845 processor. And this should give lots of improvements, including better noise reduction, better color, as well as better edge enhancement. Now with video, this is where we've got a big improvement. We've got 4K HDR video recording. Now this is something that I'm really looking forward to testing out properly. Should be getting more detail, more color, as well as more contrast.
Now HDR capabilities may not mean that much to average consumers like you and me, but to be honest, if you're gonna spend a lot of time recording on your smartphone and you want a depth of color and image that's really gonna stand out, this is definitely a capability you're going to want to have. One of the impressive things about this phone, in addition to its great camera, is that it's really built for media consumption. The screen resolution, the quality of the speakers are all built to let you watch content, regardless of where you're consuming it, on the screen directly from the camera. And it includes another interesting feature that I don't want to spoil it for you. Here's a little segment from Mr. Mobile who gives you a better understanding of the media consumption side, as well as this interesting physical feature.
Sony's theme for the XZ2 is immersive entertainment, and to that end it's included a mix of practical and preposterous upgrades. On the practical side, a graphics engine that boosts the color and clarity of videos, along with dual front-facing speakers that are 20% louder than those on the XZ1. And if that's not enough for you, how about a rumble pack? Yeah, this is the preposterous thing. There are these double-sized haptic motors in the phone that make it vibrate and buzz along with the soundtrack of whatever you're watching on YouTube or listening to on Spotify. If you've ever used a DualShock controller on a PlayStation with force feedback, yeah, it feels like that.
You remember back in the day when you had the Nintendo 64, you had that rumble pack you could put in the controller? It's like they installed two of those so that when you're playing games or watching something, the XZ2 will, shake accordingly. I don't know if that's something I need, but I kind of want it. It's interesting that they decided to include haptics to media consumption and game playing on this phone. After all, it's not something you normally see on a smartphone, and it's hard to know without actually handling it whether the phone makes it a worthwhile experience or not. But Thunder E from Bored at Work got an early hands-on attempt at actually playing games on this phone. Take a listen and hear what he had to say.
So while you're watching content on there, you can actually feel vibrations that give you just more of a haptic or say natural feel to sound, which is actually pretty cool. You can actually customize that too, but it also works really well well while you're gaming. So when you're going through different gameplay elements, the sound reacts, of course, to the vibration, those kind of things. So even when you're watching an action movie, you can actually get the feel of the different action sequences that go around. So that's also a really nice new feature built into this device.
I'll say this, I don't know if haptics is gonna make or break a phone in terms of whether people are actually gonna buy it and whether Sony can earn back some of that market share it used to have. But I'll tell you this, it's an interesting concept and it does set it apart from other Android-based phones, particularly if you can use it for gameplay and it makes that, a little bit more of an immersive experience. So I'm not gonna say that haptics are the defining feature of this phone, but it does make it interesting and, to be fair, distinctive amongst other Androids. And that's it for our show today on the Sony Xperia XZ2 and 2 Compact. What do you think? Worth your time, or are you gonna save your money? Either way, check out other shows that we've done by heading over to Unboxed.tv or look us up on the iOS store. In the meantime, I'll be back here soon to bring you all the best in product reviews and unboxing videos. I'm your host, Jason. Have a great day.